you have to, they're going to vet who gets into that show. Not just anybody can show up, right? You have to be involved within the industry at some point, or at some level, whether you sell a product, you manufacture a product, you represent a product, or you're media of some kind, or you're a buyer, right? For some company, like an intermediary.
There's a whole process
to get in.
So if you're not media, you pretty much have to pay for being a business, which I did, which is not fun because for shows, it's like, you know, 10, 20, 30, $50 tops to get into a show. And this was like $350 for like entry level business owner for a ticket.
Yeah. I mean,
and there's a ton of proof of like, I need a website, a business card, proof that your face is somewhere on this website with products,
paycheck stubs, something like that.
Yes, crazy shit, dude. Luckily, I have a website that does have my face, and I didn't know that until I got there. I was totally unprepared for that. But yeah, so basically, even if you have a lot of money to go, you still have to be connected somehow to get to SHOT Show. And dude, I've been to a lot of like car shows, video game conventions, shows, and in some of the car shows I'm talking about are like the newest car from Ford is there, the newest car from Acura, whatever, right? I've never been to a show this massive. It was fucking massive. There was so many rooms, so much, dude. I walked 40,000 steps the first day. And that wasn't like 40,000 steps, good for you. That was like not sitting down once until dinner time. So even if you're standing still, that's not steps counted, but my fucking knees hurt so bad, dude.
Yeah. It's so, to paint the pictures, what way I understand it was stretched over across two massive hotels, right?
Two massive hotels on the strip. Yeah. And there's like a bridge gapping the two. And like, one day you could do a speed run and cover all of it, but you're not talking to anybody.
Right. You're just,
Yeah. So like me doing 2 days was like enough for me to get through, and actually like make connections with people.
So usually at these things, because I have a lot of experience with things, a lot of fitness industry shows, right? And there's a couple different types of mindsets of people going. There's the, I'm going to go to be seen, to see and be seen, like, and maybe just connect with some people like my old friends or, you know, in the industry, because it's the one time a year we get together, or, you know, we have the opportunity. And then there's the whole party aspect, right? You know, the big vendors generally are throwing a party. That's what they do. It's Vegas. So it's kind of, they generally ramp it up a notch, and you've got, you know, the one vendor trying to outdo the other vendor and who threw the biggest party, and, you know, or whatever.
That's the thing.
There's that, right? And then there's the other part of it where people are genuinely going there to do business, right? To build those relationships, to sign big contracts, to make big purchases, and or to set up the next big kind of partnership or whatever it is. And then there can kind of be anything in between.
Yeah.
This, you know, this particular show, again, there hadn't been one in a year, right? So there was
it's weird for me because this is my first SHOT Show. So to come back to this one where everybody was like, there's a lot on this because a lot of people didn't want to show up because of like the moral value of you shouldn't be forced to wear a mask in this community when you're fighting for freedom and patriotism and rights and stuff like that.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah. So there was that. So that's weird. Right. But then also, like we've talked about previously, the gun community is so new, in terms of like the civilian world and like how fast it's rapidly growing, that I'm sure this was like a huge SHOT Show to go to, simply because everybody's competing with each other now. And so you have to drive prices down to compete with the next person. And like, I'll talk a little bit more later about like how there's some optics that are a better price point now that company didn't have price points like this 5 years ago.
I love it. Innovation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So like, I think this was a really good one to go to. Even if it was my first one, I couldn't say from the previous years. I do have friends that have been to the previous ones. But I think across the board, this is interesting because of all that innovation on a business level. But then also some people, I think, were so unprepared to know if it was or wasn't going to happen.
Oh, interesting.
So like, for example, I don't actually know the reason behind this, but Surefire is one of my favorite companies. And they had face value there and meeting rooms, nothing else.
Wow.
There was no products. There's nothing to demo. There's no new shit, and they have new shit coming out. So that was kind of weird to me. I don't know what the reason is. I almost feel like they weren't sure if they were invested or not. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah, so shit like that. That's why it's weird, right? Because I think some people are 1 foot in, 1 foot out when it comes to that. And I could be wrong here, but that's what it seemed like with a handful of companies.
Well, again, going back, I mean, right up until the last minute, there was a question about who was going to be there and who wasn't. And it's an investment for a company. I mean, you mentioned it being $350, to go. And some people might look at that and go, come on, man, $350 for the value that you could get out of it. It's not a lot. Well, I looked at the prices as well, because I was trying to make it work out for me. And it was going to cost me more like $750, which is a bit of a larger investment. Yeah. But that doesn't include the time away from work, the time away from, the hotels, the travel, the food and everything else. It's a major investment. So if you're taking an entire team and you've got to get product on a plane or on a van or whatever, or in a van or in a truck to get it there, you got to set it up whenever. That is a major investment from a company. I mean, they look at some of these shows will make or break the company for the year, in terms of what they do or they don't do. So I imagine as a consumer or somebody who's, sort of a fan of some kind of, of Surefire for some of the products they turn out, that could be a little bit shocking.